So, crack on, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome once again to the Seven Sisters Pubcast, coming to you live from Jeanne d'Arc in Toulouse at the Seven Sisters Pub.
Yeah.
Today it's me, Paul, and we've got Sean.
Hello.
How you doing, Shawnee? You good?
Yes, I'm good.
Cheers,
Oh, yeah.
mate. Let's have a bit of a
Cheers.
cheersy there.
Yeah.
Sean's got the IPA. It's quite a powerful beer.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long morning.
Yeah. So we'll see how squiffy Sean is by the end of the pubcast.
Yeah, so it shall be a challenge to remain coherent.
This is 0%. I'm pretending it's a Peroni, but it's alcohol free.
I feel cold out right now because that is not alcohol free.
That is that is plentiful alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, Shorty.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Toulouse? Just a quick little
8 years. Like this place it's home at this point. You know.
Yeah, 8. That's me as well. 8 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
2015.
Yes.
When in 2015?
September. No, August 31st.
Oh, that's wild because I came here in July 2015.
Okay.
Bianca, our mutual friend, my big girlfriend, your friend, she came in 2015. Another friend of mine, Sean, she came in 2015. Aaron, another friend, England from 2015. So we all came 8 years ago. It's quite weird. And all around summer as well.
Yeah, we all
Apparently.
decide to stay as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like people who come just around that, maybe not. I don't know. I know people who I know who've come just after that.
Yeah.
They ain't here anymore. No.
Oh, okay. So
I
that
know.
was if you wanted to stay in Toulouse, you had to have come here in 2015.
Apparently, it was
Yeah.
all the rage. I mean, well, it was a cool place in when we came in 2015. We had the Shanghai. We had.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What
For
else
the-
do we have that you don't have now? I mean,
I can't think of anything actually. Shanghai. Well, for those of you who don't know, anyone watching in Toulouse might well know what Shanghai is. It was a nightclub, wasn't it? I think at its core it was a gay nightclub, wasn't it? It was a gay club.
between big inverted commas. Yes.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
there was the third floor that was like kind of blacked out. It was like men only in there.
I've heard of the legend. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never actually been. No, I've never actually been.
But you never went to Shanghai.
I mean, I went to the place where everyone goes. You know?
Okay.
You know, but yeah, it didn't really ever feel like much of a gay club because it's.
No. I mean, the thing with Shanghai was it was the place where for all bar staff in town, that's where they ended up. Like almost every night. Every night, if you went there at 3:00 in the morning, you will see someone. If you worked in bars, you would see someone that you knew.
Okay.
There would be other bar staff in there because that's where they would all go after work. But yeah, I had plenty of crazy evenings in Shanghai, that's for sure. But yeah, so we're missing Shanghai. So maybe that's why people leave now. Then yeah.
Possibly. Well, there's just nothing to get them hooked anymore
There's
because it was a
nothing.
legendary place. You know, I mean, it was it was messy. But it was iconic. You know, it was a good time.
Yeah,
Music
it was a bit of a dive. To be fair, they sold packaged sandwiches as well. I'd never seen that in a nightclub.
Really?
Yeah, I often partook in some like a kind of cheese and ham sandwich in a nightclub, which is quite weird. Like literally, like the kind of the packaged sandwiches available at the front counter. It was quite strange. I mean, apparently the guy made a lot of money because a lot of drunk people.
Well, he
interested
It seems
in
like he was
sandwiches.
a businessman that was very good at identifying very specific niches. Like, there's no bars in Toulouse that sell really cheap like ham and cheese sandwiches. There's gay bars in Toulouse, but there's none that all the straight people want to come to.
Yeah,
and all the bar staff want to come to. What else? And he had really. If you ordered any sort of spirit, you got those really tall, skinny glasses, which I have one of, by the way. I'm sure it's worth something at this point.
Yeah,
to some,
that's
party going
a
earlier.
staple of any kind of nightclub, isn't it? If you want a vodka and coke, it's going to come in. What are they? They call them highball glasses, don't they? I think.
Glasses?
I should know. But yeah, like the long, thin glasses. But in the nightclubs, they were exceptionally thin.
Yeah.
So they can obviously give you less.
Can't fit any ice in it, like.
Yeah. Yeah, oh God, no, it's Shanghai. But anyway, yeah, so I thought today we would actually talk about pubs because it is a pubcast. We've spoken about various things.
We both work in pubs.
Yeah.
Well, you run this one.
But we're both the quiz master at our respective pubs. Hang on, my phone's going off. Put that on silent. Sorry. So we're both quiz masters, and I thought we could discuss the quiz. So you do your quiz at which pub? We'll give them a quick shout out.
So yeah, Tower of London Tuesday nights starts at 8:30.
Tuesday night, Tower of London, San Michel. Is it San Michel?
Yep.
This is for anyone who's in Toulouse. Obviously, anyone who's not in Toulouse, you're not going to care. But or you might care if you eventually do come to Toulouse.
Yeah.
But yes, that's every Tuesday night.
Tuesday night,
9:00.
8:30.
8:30.
Yeah, we try to start at 8:30 anyway. Well, we do. We're pretty good at it.
Yeah. And so what? Because the pub quiz, I'm sure anyone watching is very aware of what a pub quiz is because it's the staple of any pub in the UK and Ireland, and now in France, every single Irish English pub that I'm aware of in France does a pub quiz.
Yeah. You got your own funky twist on it too.
I think you've got to kind of have a little bit of a USP. You can't just have. You can. You can just have like questions and music, but it's nice to have like a little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was thinking like in England or in Ireland, I guess as well. It's for money as well, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I guess. I've never done one in Ireland before. I've been in a bar when one was happening, but I never stayed long enough to see the end. But I guess that would make sense.
In my experience, it was. This is what makes it a bit more fairer. If you've got a big team of 10, and then there's another table where there's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
In the UK, the way it worked was you paid £1 for each member of your team.
Okay.
So if there's loads of you, you've obviously got to put a lot more money into the pot, and at the end that pot is obviously won by the winning team. So if you're a team of 2, you've only put £2 in, you've got a good chance, and if you win much bigger than if you were a group of 8. It kind of like evens it out, I think, if there's like, because obviously if there's a group of 10, they've got a massive advantage over the other team. And it gets quite serious in England as well. You get teams who go from pub to pub, and they're legit like pub quizzes. They that's their thing that they do. And there's probably pub quiz every night of the week in certain towns, and they just go around and just try and win as much money as they can.
But what you just told me, I didn't know that there was quizzes for money outside of France. Like, this is just blowing my mind because so many little things make sense. For start. The Chase, the TV show that I love watching binge watching when I go home for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me that people who are really good at quizzes dress in suits to come on this show.
Yeah.
Like in France, you just win alcohol if you win. Like you don't dress in a suit. That doesn't make any. There's no money in being good at quizzes.
No.
Then other thing, whenever I do a quiz, and in the Tower of London, it's actually mostly a French clientele, right?
Yes.
But whenever the odd occasion where we have an English person come in, do you want to do the quiz? They don't even know there's a quiz on, and they'll reach into their pockets. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
I mean, they'll
are you
take
looking
it.
for a pen? Like, I got pens here. Like,
Yeah.
but and then there was something else. Well, I learned. Well, I've always known, I guess, that like bingo in Ireland, at least, is you play for money. But I just recently learned in the last few months that in France you don't play for money on bingo. Here you win like a plate of sausage or something.
I mean, I'm going to go on record and say that I would probably prefer the plate of sausage to money. Depends how much money.
There is a certain charm to being in a little country village and like you hearing all the people get really like into it just because like they're playing for like 200 like, well, okay, they'll give like vouchers for shops, but like a beer dispenser or like a box of cleaning equipment. Like,
as the prize for a quiz.
As one of the prizes. It would never be the top prize. It'd be like for the line or the double line.
Yeah.
It was like, what was it the French for it? It was like quelque chose de ménagère. And I was like, that's really nondescript. It was like a like housework box. It would have translated as. And I asked my friend, I'm like, what would be in that? And they just kind of were like, things.
Yeah, like, just stuff.
Just stuff, but we want it. We want the stuff. We don't know what we're getting, but we want it. Like
free stuff. Like everyone likes free stuff. So anything. The reason you can't play for money in France is because it is illegal to gamble. Gambling, because you have the licensing for a pub. So the license we have here is we can stay open till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. on a Saturday, and we can sell hard liquor, like whiskies and anything over 18% alcohol, we can sell to anyone over the age of 18. And then there's a license where you've got to, if you want to sell that sort of strength alcohol, you have to sell it with food, etc. So there's all these kind of levels of licensing, and then you get the license. I think that in France they're called PMUs. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them. They're bars where you can gamble. Like there's where they've got the horse racing on TV, and you can place bets and stuff like that. And so it's those places where they have the licensing for gambling. So in bars you can't exchange, no money can be exchanged basically.
Right.
Which is kind of cool, I guess. But then it would be nicer. I think more people would be interested in the quiz if they've got a chance of winning €50 than a bottle of booze, which is the prize here, by the way. If you win the quiz here, it's a bottle of gin, vodka, rum, or whiskey of your not of your choice actually. Oh, yeah. We'll give you the option. We'll give you the options, and you choose between the four of those bottles.
Nice. What? But I mean, I'll agree. It would definitely attract more people. But I mean, at the same time, there's a certain level of like, I mean, do you really want to have to like be really strict about? Okay, maybe you feel differently than I do, but I would feel worse. For example, if a team I suspect maybe cheated, but I can't be sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel so bad about giving them a pitcher of beer as I would giving them a €50 note.
Yeah.
Especially one that like other people have contributed to. Like the bar, obviously here, the bar pays for what? The base pays for all the prizes.
Yeah.
But
I guess along those lines as well, teams cheating, that was definitely going to be something I wanted to bring up, because obviously cheating in a pub quiz has now become, in the last 15, 20 years, a lot easier with smartphones. Obviously, everyone's got Google in their pocket. Now with Shazam as well, when it comes to the music round, you can Shazam the songs, and you can cheat that quite easily. So obviously, it would be a bit shit to give these people these cheats, these prizes, because you can't prove it. There are certain. I mean, you will definitely understand this. If there's a round of music. This works in France. I'm sorry to say this, but obviously with the French, the popular music, the kind of stuff that we listen to in the UK and America, I guess, isn't the same. Like in France, they're very proud of their music, and on the radio, there's like a legal requirement to 30%, I think, of their music output on the radio has to be French music, which is good. I really like that. You kind of support. They support their local artists or whatever. But so the music round can be quite difficult for French people in the pub quizzes in that I do anyway. So when you see a French team and they've got all of them correct, sometimes you're like, oh, is that? Have you been cheating? Cheating? And I'm not just saying that's for the French either. Like the English will be the same as well. Like you'll ask a certain question and you'll see that they're scratching their heads and being like, oh, I don't know, what I've got no idea what the answer for that is. I've got no idea what the answer for that is. And then when you get the answers at the end, they've suddenly got the right answer. Yeah. I'm going to give you an example of this. Yeah. Actually, I think I spoke to you about this the other day. There was a question on my quiz about sounds. And it was, what's the name of that famous stock sound used in films?
Yes, we did talk about
They've always they use that. There's that stock sound they use for people falling off a building or being shot, and it's that same noise, and it's in all the popular films.
Yeah,
and it's called
the Wilhelm scream.
The Wilhelm scream, and some of you might know about it, some of you might not. And it's fascinating. Also, if you Google it, Wilhelm scream. It's awesome. It's in all the Star Wars films. It's in all the Indiana Jones films. Like it's like a thing in Hollywood. But so that was one of the questions here. And one of the teams, I went over. They were like scratching their head. They're going, "Oh, what is that? I've never heard of that." Talking to me, being like, "Oh, I've never heard of that. That's crazy. What is that? What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's really famous. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, maybe you won't know it." Comes to the moment where I'm collecting the answers. There is Wilhelm scream. I'm like, you definitely cheated. Like 2 seconds ago, you had no idea what that was, and now suddenly you've got the right answer. I'm like, well, no, I'm not giving you a point for that.
Yeah,
I thought that was a situation where it was obvious that they cheated. So I was like, definitely, no points.
Well, do you like? I think did you tell me before that you thought that they were that they checked with another team, wasn't that it?
The story goes. I'm not going to say who this was,
Okay.
but you know who you were actually.
Wasn't me.
They said that they'd given an answer to another team, and so as a return favour, they gave them the answer. That's not in the spirit of the quiz. That's not the spirit of the quiz.
Not a fan.
So yeah, I was going to ask you actually about the way that you do your quiz, because we're obviously in France, and I'm imagining you get mainly French clientele where you're at. But do you cater completely for the French, or do you try and have a little bit of a mix?
Well, yeah, you gotta cater to them. Like my blind test research is like I have saved on like my book. I've bookmarked the French Wikipedia page because I will only. I mean, I guess you would check. Would you check songs to see if they were popular in France or not?
I leave that down to Ivan.
Okay.
Like
he does that,
my business partner there. He deals with the music rounds.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm not sure if he does.
Well, I would make sure that there's if I do 10 songs in the blind test music round, I'll have 2 French songs every time. Maybe they're popular, maybe not. I won't check. It's in French. I'll let them, let them let me know. And then I'll usually have like 1 or 2 songs that are in English that I don't care if they don't know or not. Maybe they know, maybe they don't. But then the other 6 songs I'll have researched. Like I'll have gone through Wikipedia, see if it has a French Wikipedia page, to see if it's charted in France before.
Oh, that's right. That's okay. Sorry, that's great.
It takes me time to do it every week, to be honest, and I try to keep it varied, so like lots of different genres every week and stuff. The idea is, I got to challenge them, but I'd like them also to have some fun and dance and sing a bit if I can. But actually, what we started doing recently, we've started just the last 3 weeks. We've done visuals, so we have like TVs all over the bar. And so I have a PowerPoint presentation for all of the quizzes. And I started making, because I was so strongly suspicious that some of the teams were cheating. Some of the regular teams were cheating. So I've started now adding an extra challenge to the the blind test, to the music round, where last week it was, okay, you're going to hear a song. You need to, you have to give me the name of the song and the artist and another song by that artist. For an extra half point. I made a mix of actually quite easy songs with some one-hit wonders. So there was like Hey Ya by Outkast.
Right.
There was like I'm Blue by Eiffel 65. No.
So you had to come up with a different song by Eiffel 65.
Yeah, and a few people did.
Oh, really? Wow.
But there is one really famous song, right?
Oh, really?
And people were like, what is it? And then I sing it to them and they're like, move your body, everybody.
We're going to put it on. I'm going to find a clip. It's going to be here. There it is. That's the song. It's going to be playing when you're watching this.
Along with my singing, because it's going to obviously be in the correct key and everything.
Obviously.
I wonder. I'm gonna be like hoping that that's the case, or else it's going to be a cacophony. Anyway.
So I like that you do a lot of research for the music round, I guess.
Oh, you got to do it for everything, really.
I tell you what I've been doing recently, because we are in France, and the thing here, I get a lot of English or American clientele. So I've got to try and please both parties, and I found that if I ask too many questions about like Hollywood or American TV, English TV, like just forget about it. But American TV, understandably, like in France, they've got their own shit going on, so they might not know Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or even like The Office, big shows like that. Like you're not certain that everyone in France is going to know about that. So what I've done recently, the last 2 quizzes, I haven't asked a single question on film, haven't asked a single question on sport. I think I ignored sport as well. And any kind of American or English culture, it's all been like kind of science and geography and that sort of thing, and food and things like that. And it's kind of evened the playing field a little bit, because I have noticed that sometimes the English speaking teams they'll run away with it. They'll win by like 5 or 6 points, 7 points. Okay, that's not that fair. But so last night, actually, it was a quiz in here last night, and it was one of those sort of things, and where like a lot more level playing field, not many film questions, and it was a lot more of the French teams won. I think I won prizes. So I was like, I'm gonna stick to that then. I'm gonna stick to that technique.
So, like, could you give me? I'm curious of some examples of some questions that you would have asked that would have stumped the French people. I remember you telling me about that question about Bruce Bogtrotter.
Oh yeah. So the theme. I like to have my themes kind of cryptic in a way.
Yes, you do.
So I'll say the next round is on cakes. And people know, so because we have a joker. Sorry, I'll explain our quiz. You have like a couple of rounds of questions, and I give every team a joker. And the joker is to double their points for one particular round. So before the round, I'll say the theme for the next round is cakes, and then some people think, oh, okay, that sounds like our sort of thing. We'll double our points, and then I'll just ask 6 questions about cakes in films.
Yes, he will.
So it's kind of like it is about cakes, but it's essentially it's a film round.
Yeah.
But so I kind of hide that thing.
Yeah.
And so the question was Bruce Bogtrotter is forced to eat. I explain a scene in a film and some involving a cake, and then you just have to give me the name of the film. And so Bruce Bogtrotter is forced to eat a whole cake in front of the school. Matilda.
Yeah, and I only recently found out as well. It's not known here at all. In fact.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised because I thought Roald Dahl was international, and clearly not.
Well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is known everywhere.
Yep.
Right. But what else?
Yeah, I guess that must be it. But then I always think that when I Google films and if there's like the character names that are in French, they've got like a different name for it. That always makes me think, well, it's popular then, but it's not. Like Thomas the Tank Engine, for example. The other day I was thinking I wanted to ask a question on Thomas the Tank Engine. I Google it, Thomas the Tank Engine French, and then there's a Wikipedia page comes up. And you're like, oh, so it's popular. Thomas et ses amis, you know. So I went over to a French friend. I was like, "Oh, is this popular in France?" Nah.
Yeah, because you know what? You might be finding like translations for a Quebecois audience, like the Quebec audience. That stung me a couple of times as well.
Well, I just think it's difficult for me and you. We've got or anyone that's doing a pub quiz in Toulouse or in France in general, and they've got like a bit of an international crowd. You've really got to. You can't ask questions about. Nothing involving in the English language. No kind of wordplay kind of stuff
unless it works in both languages, which is rare.
It's got to be kind of actual general knowledge.
One thing I like to do, and my clients actually really appreciate it. Whenever I want to do something like that, where I ask a question about the English language, I have to parallel it with a question about the French language.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how that will work in your quiz because you have a very set, like you have to give 1 point for each question because the Joker has to be equally viable for each round.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But perhaps, right, if you give a half point for each, like, okay, so I have a regular question these days where I will ask for an expression in English and an expression in French. Before I had the visuals, I would ask a question about a French expression. I would ask it in English only, and then I would ask a question about an English expression but in French only, and there'd be 2 separate expressions.
You see, yeah.
Right?
What this sounds like is that Sean puts in a lot more effort for his quiz than I do. I'm like, our quiz is Thursday night. I'm at Wednesday night, 2 a.m.
Well, okay, well,
putting the quiz together.
I'm honestly not that much better. Like, it starts at 8:30 on Tuesday, and sometimes I'm there at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
tapping the. But I am asking myself. You know, I am constantly looking for inspiration during the week. Like, I was really struggling this week. Actually, you know, I'm quite proud of my question 15 this week. Actually, I was like, I only had 2 or 3 questions written at that point. I was on my way to work Tuesday morning, and I was like, trying to like, what sort of questions can I ask? And I'm on the metro, and I'm like, you know, prochaine station so long, beam, doors closed in the metro, and I'm like, what note was that? I like whip out my piano app, and I'm like, is it this note? I'm like, oh, it's an E. And so my question, I was like, what note is it that you hear on the metro when the doors close? And it's like, is it an E, is it a G, or is it a B flat? And so to ask the question, they were looking at me like, what the fuck?
That's fantastic. I love that.
I was like, so I goes like, I had my piano app, and I said that I asked the question, and I was like, so here is an E, beep. Here's a G, beep. I don't know if it's the right note, but I sang them the notes. They were like, there's no fucking way we can get this. But we appreciate the performance.
That is, well, that's superb. I love that. That was a fantastic idea.
But when it gets harder and harder to make quiz questions, you gotta really like look around you.
Yeah, and so you've got to make it interesting as well, I guess. And that's what I was going to say as well about the whole pub quiz thing. It's like the pub quiz. Any pub, even in England when I was still living in England, the pub quiz was packed. Everyone loves a pub quiz.
Yeah.
And in France, it's the same. Like as soon as you got a pub quiz, people are in there. They want to do it. I was like, it's the whole. Like, I can't. Well, since we've opened here, I've been trying to come up with different events for people to come down and have fun. The holy grail is to find an event that's going to be as popular as a pub quiz. I don't know what it is in human. I guess it's the testing of one's knowledge. I guess like humans are they just want to kind of prove that. I don't know whether they prove their intelligence or test their intelligence or learn stuff. I don't know what it is. The quiz is just so popular.
It's such a it lets you like fight with your friends in a healthy way, in a fun way. There's like free dopamine and serotonin when you get the rush when you get it right, and you get to be like, I said it was this answer, my friends convinced me otherwise, and all that.
That's the worst.
It's such an emotional roller coaster, and like it's just easy and fun. Like not like I don't know. Everybody's done exams and they're stressful.
Yeah, talking about actually that. So when I go home for Christmas, there's been always a tradition in my family where we do a quiz, like Boxing Day or something. So there's always that, and I will tell you now that the it's fun doing the quiz, and like testing it and going, oh shit, I know that, fuck, and then you hear the answer, and then you're kind of like getting angry that you don't know the answer or whatever. But the best part of the quiz, especially within amongst my family, is when we're going through the answers and there's the arguments. That's the best bit. That is why we do the quiz at Christmas. We're like, right, let's get the questions and the answers out of the way. Right, now we want to get to the proper nitty gritty. Yeah. And like you're kind of questioning. If you want to do a quiz at the Waller Christmas, you've got to make sure that the answers are airtight. Yeah. So as in like there is no debate that the answer to that question is this, because if there's any kind of leg room to kind of argue with it, we're going to do it. And you do get some of that here, I guess, sometimes. I mean, do you get that like where you've answered the question, you've researched it enough, you feel, and then someone's like, I think you'll find
once a week.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, once a week. I mean, I'm also like teaching 8 different classes a week on top of doing the quiz. So I admit my research is rarely airtight these days, But
is there any example of a question that you can think of where someone's disputed the answer and you've just gone, well,
Well, the first, definitely, yeah. I mean, the first example that comes to my sleepy mind right now is 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I asked a question like, in English, which drug beginning with the letter H was promoted as a potential cure for COVID during the pandemic. And I translated that in French as quelle drogue qui commence par H.
Okay.
But unfortunately, drogue in French, it doesn't have the same meaning like medicinal drugs does in English. It just means illicit drugs. Yeah. So the vast majority of French people said heroin. It's not at all. But I gave them a quarter point for humor because that's an extra, rule I have in my quiz. But they were a little bit like, okay, you asked us for what illicit drug. That's not really fair. I'm trying to think of another example.
And I'd also like to point out for that question is that we're not. They might have did anyone do any research into the effects of heroin on COVID? Because they might, that might be correct. We didn't know that. We should have, maybe in 2020 we all should have been shooting up. And then we would have been.
It's a controversial take. It's a hot take there. Smoking hot. You heard it here first, Dr. Paul.
Heroin. Get on it.
No. Oh,
don't do heroin.
No. Oh, please. No.
Because I had one.
Dose of heroin?
No, a question. I can think of two, actually. There was one that was definitely my fault, where I said Orange County is in which state in the USA, and there's like loads of orange counties. I was obviously thinking about the one in California, but I think there's two others. There's one in Florida, and actually maybe it'd just be the one in Florida. So someone's come to the bar and went, "There's one in Florida." I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yes.
So I got that one wrong. And then there was one the other day where I asked who designed. I said no. The person who designed the Eiffel Tower is this guy, but who designed? French architect, whatever his name is, I can't remember. Sorry, designed the Statue of Liberty, but who built the metal framework?
Okay,
and it was Gustave Eiffel. That was the answer that I had, because on Wikipedia, if you type in Statue of Liberty, his name, the architect comes up, but then his name comes up.
Okay,
but then there was someone in the pub who used to work as a tour guide at the Eiffel Tower. Who obviously was very well read on Gustave Eiffel, and so she knew like the ins and outs. And there was another person that was involved. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, okay, I'll give you a point, but like I'm not going to do that much research into a specific question. But yeah, you do get that sometimes. But you just got to be like, okay, yeah, hold your hands up and be like, okay, I'll give you a point.
I admit that I don't think I ever ask questions that could be so researched into. Honestly, I like a question like that. I like asking questions where a vast majority of people feel like they should know it, right? But they don't. So I love that frustration.
That frustration. That's the best thing about a quiz.
Yeah.
That frustration.
Oh Christ! I wish Christ. What? But the little things like when I got to hear teams arguing 2 weeks ago because one of my challenges in the blind test was the first song I played was "Believe" by Cher. I mean, you got to start with a fun, easy one. But I put true or false questions alongside each song, and for her it was like, this artist has had problems with the police before.
Okay.
I mean, and so it's like it feels like if I should know if I've heard it. I would have heard about it, but maybe not, right? Because she's iconic. Like, I don't know. And it was a real mix of answers in the bar. But I mean, maybe she has. I don't know. Nobody disputed it. But
Is that Cher?
Cher, yeah.
I haven't had run-ins with the police.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I would have thought. My initial thought was that doesn't narrow it down at all. This artist has had issues with the police. It's like, well, that's almost every artist or musician ever. I mean,
in the 5 minutes I spent researching it, I couldn't find any examples of it. She's just a queen overall, apparently, just beloved by everyone.
I was talking about cheating again. I forgot to mention this. This happened the other week. So I give out picture rounds. Mm-hmm. So every quiz here, there's like a picture round, 6 photos of something or other. Sometimes it's actors, sometimes it's logos or things. You just got to kind of give the answer. And this girl on this team, she took a photo of the sheet of paper and sent it to her mate. I could see her. I'm right there, and she's taking a photo, sent it to her friend. Oh, can you do you know who any of these guys are? So I leant in. I was like, well, you can't do that. And honest to God, she was shocked. I was like, well, the phones are banned, and she was like, looked at me like that. Really? Like, well, yeah. Like, otherwise, you could just text everyone the questions, or like, you might as well just cut out the middleman. Just go to Google yourself. But she honestly couldn't believe that I'd said that you can't take photos and send that to your mates and get the answers.
This is
insane.
Do I have examples of gall like that with my? I've actually started now, especially at the start of the music round, telling them all phones and all smartwatches are to be put away completely out of sight. If I see a screen on on my phone now, if a song is playing, I can check the time and the name of the song is directly underneath it. It's always listening and it's always presenting the music that I'm listening to. And so I can't trust that if anyone's got a screen that they're not cheating. And so, and people are respecting it.
I think it's a good idea. I was thinking of doing something like if I see anyone's phones out, because it's only whilst I'm asking questions. Once I've finished asking the questions, I've taken the sheets in. Obviously, you can get your phone out, and that's like a 5 minute each round. Each round is 5 minutes. If you can't not be on your phone for 5 minutes, you've got a little bit of a problem. So I'm thinking of bringing that in, being like, if I see anyone with their phone in their hand whilst I'm asking questions, I'm going to deduct points. Like you've got to kind of be a little bit. I mean, it's strict, but it's got to be. It's too easy to cheat nowadays.
It's fair. Like you don't charge for the quiz, and it's something you organise. You put your labour into it, and in exchange, you just ask for them to be sociable only with the people that are in the room and don't use Google. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I don't understand the cheating thing, because I don't cheat. I don't cheat when I'm playing games or anything like that. And like the quiz, especially if I'm at a pub quiz. But one thing I will do, and I have done in the past, is because this is why I love doing the quiz so much. Sometimes I will Google an answer, because I just can't wait to know if I'm right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I've been at a quiz, I've written the answer down. I'm like, I've got to Google it, and I'll Google it. And if I'm wrong, if I am wrong, I won't change my answer. But I've just got to know what the answer is right there, right then, right now, right there,
and then
right there and then. Yes. Right there and then.
Like the last time I did a quiz here, you put a song by my favorite band in, but I could not remember the name of the song. So
everything.
I
remember.
Yes. I've fanboyed over them many times here. Many people know this now at this point. A total fanboy. But yeah, it was like the theme was weekends or something. And the song goes, it was a Friday night, it was a Saturday night, it was a Friday night, it was a Saturday night. And so everybody was like, it must be called, and the first thing he says, it was like, it was a Saturday night. So everybody's like, Saturday night. Like, it's not Saturday night. There's going to be a song called Saturday Night by Wigfield, or like, that's coming. It did. But no, it's called Bad Friday. He never says Bad Friday in the song. Yes, I mean, I would never forget it now because I've listened to the album enough, but oh, it was frustrating. Very frustrating.
Oh yeah, I mean it's.
I googled that.
But then this is it. This is why pub quizzes are so fun. Everyone loves a quiz. I don't know. There's no one who doesn't love it. I don't think I've ever spoken to someone and gone, nah, because it's just all over TV, like quiz games and like game shows. It's everywhere. Like questions and testing your knowledge. It's great.
Well, do you ever get people who come in who happen to be here when the quiz is on and don't want to participate?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, that does happen, actually.
How many?
Think about it.
Is it often?
I think, every week, I would say. Every week there'll be at least one couple in here that doesn't want to take part in the quiz. I think sometimes it's because they say they're not going to be here for an hour and a half, wherever.
Right, yeah, sure.
And sometimes they just want to have a chat. But then I think but sometimes they kind of regret it, I think, and you will get some that say they don't want to do it, and then when they realise that the music's going to be turned off and it's just going to be me on a microphone going, okay, question one, like coming out of every speaker, they're like, well, we might as well fucking play then.
At this point, yeah.
If you're just going to be speaking through the speakers all night, then we might as well get involved. Obviously not native French speakers.
Yeah.
And obviously we do pub quizzes in France. My French level isn't great, so I will use Google Translate quite a lot when it comes to translating the question. I should be less lazy, but I am lazy in that sense. So I used Google Translate. So there's often moments where I'm using the wrong word in the wrong context, and the questions don't make sense. There was one where I said, I can't think, like who played Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber? I don't know. That wasn't the question, but it was like Jim Carrey is the answer to that. I don't know. Dumb and Dumber is always at the top of my in my head. Is the first thing I'm thinking about when I wake up. No, but so in English it's like who played, In French, it would be qui a joué.
Oui.
But I said qui a joui.
Yes, I would say, dare me.
And for those of you who don't speak French, rather than asking who played, I asked who ejaculated.
Yes.
And I didn't. So, so I've asked who ejaculated. Blah 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 blah. Finish the rest of the sentence, and then everyone starts rolling on the floor laughing, and I'm completely none the wiser. And like so I've got to lean into a French person and be like, "So what did I just say? I've clearly said something wrong." Like, yeah, you said who ejaculated. It's like, okay, cool. That's been the pub quiz pubcast, the first actual conversation about a pub that we've had on the pubcast so far. So yeah, just to reiterate, the pub quiz are Seven Sisters Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Come down as we're getting into the kind of winter period. You might want to get here a bit early if you want to have a table, if you want to actually sit down, because it got busy last night, so we're getting into that time of year.
And I would
Tower of London, also in Toulouse, another pub. Shout out them. Shout out Kevin, manager of the Tower of London. What's that? Tuesdays 8:30.
Tuesdays 8:30.
Get down
got
to
to book it as well. Cause,
you got a book?
Yeah, I mean, we had 19 teams last week.
Check it out.
You know, and yeah, if we get that, you kind of you won't get. If you just show up, you may not get a table.
Okay, well there was a few teams that did that last night here as well. They kind of turned up and didn't get a table. But yeah, so Thursday nights at the Seven Sisters, Tuesday nights at the Tower of London. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to just shout out to our we've got 15 subscribers.
Nice.
Can you believe that?
Nice one.
I mean, that's not a lot, obviously. You know, I know that's not a lot, but I'm quite surprised that there's already a couple of people, 15 people that are interested in listening to what we've got to say.
Yeah, here's to 50.
If we can get to 50 by the end of the year, I'd be happy with that. So like this, subscribe it, share, do all that jazz. Follow us on Instagram, Seven Sisters Pub, Facebook, Seven Sisters Pub. I'll put all the jazz on the bottom of the screen there. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Yeah.
Ciao.
See ya.